What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Rin.
And we have an album review for you. So another one that we wanted to go over, and it's definitely like I would say like a kind of a buzzworthy band. I've seen them multiple times now, and they seem to be kind of blowing up in popularity, was the debut full-length from the band Brat, Social Grace. This comes out on the 15th of March on Prosthetic Records. This band formed in 2020 in good old NOLA, actually during Mardi Gras, which makes them pretty damn NOLA.
They were all wearing beads.
More than likely.
You know how you get them too, right?
You asked for it.
Woo! Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Barter system.
This, again, is their debut full-length. I believe they have, what, two EPs before this? Those were, what, both about 7 minutes apiece?
About, yeah.
Because this band is... yeah, deathgrind, grindcore, hardcore,
thrash.
Yeah.
There's some thrash, some sludge-ish.
Yes. I mean, a little bit of NOLA crypt in there, too.
Gotta have a little Creole seed. Sprinkle a little slap your mama sauce on it.
Now, all this stuff blended together, the one thing that really struck me is, at least on the archives, they're self-described as bimboviolence, which... Yeah, I always thought that was like the additional name for like Barbwire, because that movie was terrible, and yeah.
I'm against violence against bimbos.
Unless it's Barbwire, because that movie's awful. But after seeing this band a couple of times, actually once here in town with Maul,
I didn't.
I was definitely very intrigued because, well, at least live, they open up with pop music. And their amazing frontwoman, Liz Selfish, comes out and she's all happy and bubbly and doing kicks and dances and trying to get everyone to sing along to songs that play in every sports arena ever. That you're like, there's words to this song? Whatever.
God bless her heart.
But then it takes a hard shift into what they actually do. And that whole kind of give and take with their live show really made me fascinated with this band. And then I saw they were coming out with an album and I heard a couple of tracks and I was like, yes. Let's do this. At
first glance, the band name turned me off. You want to listen to Brat? No.
So not Da Brat.
I would jam to Brat.
Also, for clarity, it's not the like mutant-headed Barbie knockoffs, one Brats or whatever they are.
Oh yeah, but
those things are terrible.
They were like the precursor to the High School High or Horror School High.
Yeah, no,
High School Horror.
Ugly, weird.
I don't know.
Throw them away.
So I checked out the band today since it came out today, and the first song got me very intrigued. So I jammed their entire back catalog and this album 4 times, and it took about 45 minutes out of my day. As
with most things grind related, these songs are mostly very short. In fact, I would say a good chunk of them don't even scratch the 2-minute mark. But kind of like grindcore and power violence, even though I'm not entirely sure what power violence is, even when I ask fans of power violence, like, oh, you like power violence? What exactly is that? And they're like, well, you know when you hear it.
Doesn't it have something to do with Nintendo?
No, that's Power Glove.
Power Glove.
The first 2 tracks on here pretty much hit you like a jab and a right cross right across, your jaw. Like, you just kind of get knocked out. And like I said, these songs are short, but there's also a lot of stuff going on, like riff changes, tempo changes. It goes from hardcore grooves and just flat out vicious beat downs to blast beats and grindcore fits. And all this can happen in like such a condensed section. But the cool thing about this album is it flows remarkably well for something that is like, again, kind of on the verge of losing control at spots, but they know how to anchor it back with like just big, nasty, heavy, predominantly hardcore and death metal grooves.
That's a big theme, I think, with this album is on the verge of losing it. And that's what I like about it, because I'm not the biggest grind fan, and I like more death metal than I have, but insanity death metal is not really my bag yet. But this has grind and death, but not the nuttier versions of it.
Yeah, it's anchored by riffs, and honestly, catchy riffs that kind of morph around. Like, they'll be playing with the same melody and kind of play it in like a grind format, then kind of break it up, chug it down to a groove. Sometimes they'll kind of just turn into a tremolo death metal riff, like the song Snifter. Like, it's playing a lot of the same melodies for a good chunk of that song, but there's a point where it kind of just hits this death metal tremolo, and it's like, oh, that's the same melody, but you kind of turned it into like Morbid Angel or Obituary for a second.
Yeah, and sometimes they lean more into the hardcore section, the song Blood Diamond, which I believe is a cover of the theme song to the Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Maybe.
It made it sound way more upbeat than that movie.
Blood Diamond is like if Madball moved down to NOLA, you know, for Mardi Gras, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely hear it. Like, there's like a big death metal opening to it. Like, it stomps in, like, kicks down the door and pretty much mugs you. But, you know, that's also kind of New York hardcore, too. So, yeah, like, it kind of shifts over to that. Like, it gets this kind of, like, classic New York hardcore bounce to it. Like, oh, yeah, there's that familiar groove. Yeah. That's the Destroy the Venue groove. I know that one.
Dance to the rhythm of the Brooklyn beat.
The Brooklyn beat is also the rhythm of someone getting their skull punched in the street.
Yes. And I do like the, I guess, the guitar player's male background vocals. Even though young Liz has a very deep, masculine-ish voice, the male background vocals are more of a shout that... she could probably do it too, but it adds the hardcore element. Like in Human Offense, that one's a lot of power trip into the hardcore thing, but it's, again, hardcore a la NOLA.
Yeah, like the sludge elements definitely come into play, like, and it's also kind of part of the atmosphere and how that's twisted up with. I mean, honestly, I get like a lot of like old grindcore in here, like Napalm Death, Terrorizer, especially in Liz's delivery too. Like, she's kind of got the Barney roar down.
It's the cadence and the tone, and maybe that's why I like it, because that's getting into grindcore. That's start at the beginning, work my way up, and that's the stuff I'm familiar with, so maybe that's why I like that.
And a lot of this, I would say, is like a good like sampler of like 90s style extreme metal and hardcore and such. Like, there's a lot of tropes of that on every song, and again, how they switch back and forth, I think, is really cool. Blood Diamond in particular, I think, is really clever in terms of its transitions in the riffs. Like, they kind of capture like 4 different genres in this song that's maybe 2 minutes long. And sometimes they kind of venture out past like the standard, like, you know, death grind and death metal and hardcore stuff. Like, they kind of blend it up with like a little bit of sludge, like Slow Heat. The opening of that is flat out NOLA. Like, you know, it's very reminiscent of like a sludgy riff that would open up like 9 or 10 I Hate God songs. Which is interesting because this was produced by James Whitten, who actually worked on the last I Hate God, which we reviewed, as well as bands like Forming the Void and Thou. And just because I saw it on the list of bands that he's worked with, there was a band called Wizard Dick that he did production on.
Oh, I'm gonna check that out right now.
I'm already enthralled. I really want to know what that's all about. But they're from NOLA, and I assume they'll probably be sludgy and heavy.
Did you jam the new Wizard Dick? No, but I wanna. Before I even forget.
Are you looking at Wizard Dick?
Just to see if they have it. Yes, Wizard Dick. They have an album and an EP.
There you go.
Wizard Dick. Check out Wizard Dick on Spotify.
It's the part they leave off of all the Econoline bands that they spray wizards on. Like, they could probably put it right around the handle. Or if you paint the wizard in the right spot, it is the handle.
Yeah.
And you have to grab it every time you get in there. And on the song Sugar Bastard, which might be like the worst possible nickname to get in prison, that one goes full bore like crust. Like old school, crusty, hardcore. Like the riffs are just like down-picked. They have like, you know, kind of grindy fits in between with some like cool turnovers, but the bulk of that song kind of just has like an old school throwback to just straight up punk.
It has that NOLA moss on the strings kind of sound. As we were listening to this, I thought about that. I don't know if I would recognize this band as being from NOLA if I didn't know that, but now that I know that, I can hear it. It could be the production and the sound, but my theory is they use orange amps. And that's because the loud colors scared the gators away.
I mean, is that true?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it makes sense.
And I gotta say, like, when they transition, I think it's really cool because, like, most of the transitions are as primal as the music. Like, it's generally cymbal grabs, feedback, you know, maybe like a drum build-up behind it. The song Truncheon has, like, a particularly big transition on it where they kind of drop out everything. The bass starts snarling in the background, it's feedback, the drums start stomping, and Liz is shouting whatever she's shouting. It's effective. Like, it's that hardcore, you know, it's the warning.
Yeah, it's
like,
probably, yeah.
It's like, listen, things are about to get crazy. You need to get out of, like, the middle part of the floor here, otherwise you're going to be human confetti. And also blended in with everything else that's blended in here, there's definitely elements of, like, thrash metal and crossover in particular. Like, there's just moments where you hear flat out thrashy riffs. Like, they are distinctly different than all the hardcore chugs on here. Stuff that harks back to like Cro-Mags or even recent bands like Enforced. But I like the fact that they kind of just, again, like sample Extremity and kind of put it together and kind of dial it down to its most base form, so it's nice and short and mean. And honestly, the whole thing works. The songs are excellent about like keeping the pressure on. Like, it really doesn't let up, only to at least warn you the next heavy part's coming. But it's also good about like shifting around the riffs, like keeping you guessing a little bit. And you know, it's still clever. Like, you know, grind is generally thought of as like, yeah, it's just playing fast and they're just government, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like fun nuance to these riffs, and again, like kind of plucking little samples from different genres to kind of work in here. It makes this album just really interesting to listen to multiple times, because you can do it multiple times because it's only like 20 minutes long.
As far as my negatives, I'd just like maybe a little more enunciation on the vocals, but she's doing brutal grindcore style vocals, which traditionally aren't very articulated.
Yeah, at least it doesn't sound like she's cupping the mic too much.
No, you every now and again, like I heard a word.
My only real complaint on here is like, with all the variety that's on here, there are moments I really wish they would hang on to for a bit longer.
Yeah.
Like, I think the longest track in here is the title track, Social Grace, which is awesome. I mean, I love how it builds up. Those slow chugs, that descending crowbar riff at the end. Like, it's awesome that they have all these cool riffs, because like all these riffs I think are catchy in different ways. Like, you know, you can go from like, again, flat out hardcore to like just nasty old school death metal. Like, there's a cool Carcass gallop and rope drag. I absolutely love that song. But there are moments where I feel like, or you kind of cut it off a little bit short, but at the same time, it's grind, hardcore, power violence.
Right.
Short, compact, and violent. That's the formula. That's what you do. But honestly, it's that constantly kind of churning, shifting sound that I really like in here. And again, the intensity is always on. And also, their videos are pretty hilarious and pretty fun.
Yes, their videos, I recommend checking them out. They have a very good sense of humor. And they have a very interesting look. You have a guitar player and a bass player that, when their heads are down, they just look like
metalheads.
Long-haired, just a faceless metalhead dude. Like, yep, you like something cool. And the vocalist is a prim-looking stargazer. And their drummer, I like this guy. He's a big hoss. I love his gold chain and his mullet. He seems like he would be a good guy to hang out with.
So yeah, overall, I'm gonna give this 4 stars. Like, I legit enjoyed this. I listened to this 4 times today and constantly headbanging. I love the transitions. I love the energy on here. Like, this thing is explosive. And at no point in here would I say anything kind of lacked any like commanding presence. Like, every song in here sounds serious as a heart attack, which is a great contrast to the band's image, because
they not so much.
They look like they want to have fun, and every time I've seen them, they clearly have. Classifying this, I don't know. Like, baseline, I could probably call it like death grind, maybe get away with it. But again, there's so many other elements that are just sampled and woven in here. And there are a lot of things that I absolutely love and grew up on. Like, there's a fierce 90s vibe, and that's not just like death metal and grindcore, like 90s hardcore, 90s thrash metal, and 90s sludge metal. All these things I love. I grew up on that kind of things I cut my teeth on as a metalhead, and they're all kind of woven in here in a strange, fun, loud, kind of obnoxious, but in a great way package, and I dig it. Like, flat out, this has got riffs and energy. If you're a big fan of, I'd say, like, again, Napalm Death and Terrorizer, maybe a little bit of Soylent Green, and I would say definitely a Squalor Grind. Like, they're on that same level too. Check this band out. This album is absolutely awesome.
When I first listened to it, I was at a 3. Then I listened to it again, I was like a 3.5. And the 4th listen, I was like 3.5, and I'm at a 4 now. This is fun. Like you said, it's a nice sampler of 90s extreme music. And all of this is mixed into a nice, easily digestible format. More easily digestible than, say, straight grind, straight death. Yeah, I want to hang out with these guys. They seem like fun. I don't know.
I mean, they formed in Mardi Gras. Like,
yeah,
they know how to party
well,
already.
I was going to say, they must party. Check this out. Don't let the name fool you. The name fooled me. Like, Brat, prim-looking stargazer fronting. Like, it's probably Poppy, the lady and the style.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw them live, like I said, they opened up with, like, just arena techno, and you're like, what the fuck?
This is gonna be bad. Hey, that drummer looks interesting. Whoa!
Blast beats, chugs, like, wait, what happened? What happened? Something happened. Something awesome happened.
Oh well. 4. Check out the Brat. Just Brat.
Just Brat. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our Patreon link is there. It is also on our channel, up on the banner in the bottom right-hand corner. But if you're looking for Thralls Metal stuff, you have to go to thrallsmetal.com. We have t-shirts, we have new shirts, we have old shirts that are discounted, provided we have your size. And we even have some hats, too, so if you're looking for any of that stuff, click the link down below. And, of course, a giant heartfelt thank you to all of our supporters. We got a whole bunch of new ones, courtesy of going over that amazing Judas Priest album. Woo! And, yeah, we got a whole bunch of stuff planned for you. The next batch of rankings, we will decide those probably at the end of the next one, which will be Meshuggah, so get ready for us to say chug a lot.
Probably.
I mean, yeah.
Hour of Chug.
Hour of Chug. That's literally the name of the next Meshuggah album that will probably drop next year.
I think it's a double album.
But also tons of other stuff as well. But yeah, the main point is thank you guys so much for every bit of support you guys give us. It's amazing doing this. And yeah, we're going to keep this thing rolling. So one more big thank you, and we will catch you later.